Well, I'm alive. Thank you very much for all the well wishes. I've been off for a week with a blood infection, which wasn't particularly nice, to say the least, and I only saw one person on Twitter wishing death upon me, so it's not a bad return all in all. I had an interesting experience at the hands of our beloved NHS. So I had a small cut on my foot, I didn't think anything of it, and then I woke up one night with a ridiculous fever, temperature, all that jazz. So I naturally assumed I had coronavirus, but then all the tests came back negative, so took myself off to A&E. Now, I actually didn't spend a single second in A&E. They whizzed me straight through to urgent care, which seems like a ruthlessly efficient health service. Apart from the fact that what happened next was an eye-opening experience, to say the least. I was left in a room on my own with no medication and no medical attention whatsoever. Over the course of the next few hours, I then slowly but surely started to slip into septic shock, which I think we can all agree is not ideal. I then dragged myself out of my bed, went down the corridor and asked for help. So they came in, realised the situation was a little bit grim and started sticking needles in me. But then I said, please can I have some water, like a kind of thirsty Oliver Twist? And they said, no, we're sorry, there's no drinking water. No drinking water. I was in hospital in North London, not the Middle East. Maybe next time we have comic relief, we can get Lenny Henry to dig a well outside Whittington Hospital instead of sending him over to the third world. I brandished my bank card to a nurse. Please can someone go to that vending machine and get me a drink? Well, the vending machine was out of order, naturally. So I had to get a friend of mine to get an Uber from their house, go to the corner shop, get me something to drink and then drop it off at the hospital. Anyway, so then my results came back and it was like a SWAT team springing into action. And then I got great care. But the fact is, it was only when I was seriously ill that I got the quality of care that you would actually expect. And that's the sad reality of the situation. If I'd been a 90-year-old person on their own, unable to have got out of bed or ask for help or contact someone to get them something to drink, I genuinely might have died there. At the very least, I probably would have ended up in intensive care in a much worse situation than I needed to be. And this must be happening at pretty much every hospital up and down the country, every single day. I think the worst thing that can happen to you in the NHS is if you're unwell and on your own. You must have stories like this with your loved ones. Let us know what they are. And I feel sorry for the people at the coalface, the nursing staff, because it's not their fault. It's the fault of a broken system, quite clearly. But the solution to this is not more money. We'll hear that again at Labour Party conference, won't we? The NHS is underfunded. It's not underfunded. Everyone bangs on about cuts to the NHS, but that's not really true. During the period of austerity that followed the 2008 economic crash, the Department of Health and Social Care budget continued to grow, but at a slower pace than in previous years. There are literally graphs showing expenditure on the health and social care budget rising each year, so cuts really are a myth. Experts warn that 40% of government expenditure now may be going towards our health and social care. That's got to be about the limit as a country that we can spend. Because money spent on the NHS then can't be spent anywhere else. It's money that can't be spent on our defence budget, on our education system, on transport, on border security. It's not really about more money. It's about spending that money better. In 2015, the NHS in England spent 142 million quid on prescribing paracetamol, aspirin and ibuprofen. These are things that you can get cheaply outside of hospital. 57 million GP consultations in 2006 to 2007, apparently, involved minor ailments, some of which could have been treated through self-care. This cost us, apparently, around 2 billion quid a year. The NHS 111 service was set up to ensure that people are directed to the most appropriate medical care. However, evidence suggests that 3/4 of people directed to A&E by the 111 helpline could have been helped elsewhere. If this was sorted, apparently it would save us around 16 million quid a year. And more official figures show the health service also now has an astonishing 2,788 very senior managers, which include chiefs across all trusts, earning at least £110,000 a year, costing the taxpayer 395 million big ones annually. So it's not really about pumping more money in. It's about spending that money more wisely. And at the end of the day, the NHS is there to serve you. It's there to save your life. And it's not free, is it? Because we do all pay for it. And if it's not working for you, you have a right to call it out. The NHS is not a sacred cow.